All right, let's go ahead and start chapter 2. Okay, so chapter 2 starts. So Fern has Wilbur. She's on her way to school, but she decided to go ahead. Miss Arable gave her a nipple to actually feed Wilbur. So now let's go with chapter 2. Fern loved Wilbur more than anything. She loved to stroke him, to feed him, to put him in bed every morning. As soon as she got up, she warmed his milk, tied his bib on, and held the bottle for him. Every afternoon when the school bus stopped in front of the house, she jumped out and ran to the kitchen to fix him another bottle. She fed him again at supper time and again before going to bed. Mrs. Arable gave him a feeding around noontime each day when Fern was away at school. Wilbur loved his milk. He was never happier than when he heard Fern was warming up a bottle for him. He would stand and gaze up at her with adoring eyes. The first few days of his life, Wilbur was allowed to live in a box near the stove in the kitchen. Excuse me. They're vacuuming, so the dust. Nothing else. But anyway, the first few days of his life, Wilbur was allowed to live in a box near the stove in the kitchen. When Mrs. Arable complained, he was moved to a big box in the woodshed. At 2 years of age, he was moved outdoors. At 2 weeks of age, he was moved outdoors. It was apple blossom time, and the days were getting warmer. Mr. Arable fixed a small yard, especially for Wilbur, under an apple tree, and gave him a wooden large box full of straw with a doorway cut in where he can walk in and out when he pleased. "Won't he be cold at night?" asked Fern. "No," said her father. "You watch and see what he does." Carrying a bottle of milk, Fern sat down under the apple tree inside the yard. There she is sitting in front of the apple tree. Wilbur ran to her and held a bottle for him while he sucked. When he had finished the last drop, he grunted and walked sleepily into the box. Fern peered through the box. Wilbur was poking the straw with his snout. In a short time, he had dug a tunnel in the straw. He crawled into the tunnel and disappeared from sight, completely covered with straw. Fern was enchanted. It relieved her mind to know that her baby would sleep covered up and would stay warm. Each morning after breakfast, Wilbur walked out to the road with Fern and waited for the bus till the bus came. She would wave goodbye to him, and he would stand and watch until the bus vanished around the turn. While Fern was in school, Wilbur was shut up inside his yard. But as soon as she got home in the afternoon, she would take him out. He would follow her around the place. If she went into the house, Wilbur went too. If she went upstairs, Wilbur would wait to the bottom of the step till she came down again. If she took her dolls for a walk in the doll carriage, Wilbur followed along. Sometimes on these journeys, Wilbur would get tired and Fern would pick him up and put him in the carriage alongside the dolls. He liked this. And if he was very tired, he would close his eyes and sleep under the doll's blanket. He looked cute when his eyes were closed because his lashes were so long. The doll would close her eyes too, and Fern would wheel the carriage very slowly and smoothly, not to wake her infants. On warm afternoons, Fern and Avery put their bathing suits on and went down to the brook for a swim. Wilbur would tag along at Fern's heels. When she waded into the brook, Wilbur waded with her. He found the water quite cold, too, for Fern's liking. So while the children swam and played and splashed in the water with each other, Wilbur amused himself along the mud of the edge of the brook, where it was warm and moist and delightful, sticky and oozy. Every day, happy. Every night was peaceful. Wilbur was with farmers. Wilbur was what farmers call spring pigs, which simply means he was born in the springtime. When he was 5 weeks old, Mr. Arable said he now is big enough to sell. He would have to be sold. Fern broke down and wept, but her father was firm about it. Wilbur's appetite had increased and was beginning to eat scraps of food in addition to milk. Mr. Arable was not willing to provide for him any longer. He had already sold Wilbur's 10 brothers and sisters. "He's got to go, Fern," he said. "You have had your fun raising a baby pig, but Wilbur is not a baby any longer. He has and got to be sold." "Call up the Zuckermans," suggested Mrs. Arable to Fern. "Your Uncle Homer sometimes raises a pig, and if Wilbur goes there to live, you can walk down the road to visit him as often as you like." "How much should I ask for him?" Fern wanted to know. "Well," her father said, "he's a runt. Tell your Uncle Homer you've got a pig for sale for $6 and see what he says." It was soon arranged. Fern phoned and got her Aunt Edith, and her Aunt Edith hollered for Uncle Homer. And Uncle Homer came from the barn and talked to Fern. When he heard the price of the pig was only $6, he would buy the pig. Next day, Wilbur was taken from his home under the apple tree and went to live in the manure pile in the cellar of the Zuckerman's barn. There you have it. That's chapters 1 and 2 of Charlott's Web. So if you look on your Google Classroom, there will be questions that you can answer for those. I did set it up in a Google form, so that way you can go. Also, don't forget, today is the last day for grades. I will be putting grades in for all of your work, okay? That is including the A to Z books. Also, if you have any questions, let me know. Don't hesitate to comment or to talk to me in the Google Classroom. And parents, if you need to talk to me as well, I am on Dojo. This is just an introduction to what it's going to be like. There will be full lessons forthcoming. So if you have any questions, again, don't forget you can Google Classroom me, you can Dojo me. Those of y'all have my number, you can text me. Also, I will be doing extra videos through the weekend just to kind of, have some fun. Also, I have giveaways. If you did not notice, for those people, I do have on a yes, that says Fortnite. I will be giving away a couple Fortnite t-shirts and some other t-shirts as my giveaways. We'll figure out how to get them. Okay, we'll figure out how for you guys to get them. I don't, know how long we'll be shut in, but we can. There's always a way. There's always a way. So if you have any other questions, don't hesitate again, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This is our page, 3rd grade, so we will be enjoying each other. Thank you, and have a good day. Till later. The Queen is signing out.